Welcome back to Daily Flash. I'm Andrea Jackson. Student loan debt has been a major point of contention, and joining us to talk about the very latest developments is Ayelet Sheffey. She's the senior economic policy reporter for Business Insider. Ayelet, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
So what's the current state of student loans?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've seen a difficult time for student loan borrowers over the past, couple of months. Federal student loan payments resumed in October after an over 3-year pause on payments. And this has meant that a lot of borrowers have had to incorporate an extra monthly bill into their budget. We've seen the education department and student loan servicers struggling to manage this transition back into repayment. We've seen borrowers getting late billing statements, incorrect billing statements. So this is something that the education department and servicers are working to balance as borrowers are once again, having this extra bill in their monthly budgets.
Right, which everybody sort of knew about ahead of time. It was put on pause, but now we're sort of getting things back to normal. Will there ever be affordable and easily accessible loans and financial programs for students? And what about the colleges reducing the rates they charge to get so many of these students in debt?
Right. So this is definitely something that a lot of lawmakers and the education department have on their radar is working to make these student loans more affordable because, as you said, it is such a burden for borrowers. So we're seeing a couple efforts from the education department side of things. They're working to make a new SAVE income-driven repayment plan. And this is something that they've implemented over the summer, and they're carrying out different sorts of provisions over the course of the year. And that includes making lower monthly payments for borrowers, along with shortening the timeline for some of these borrowers to get student loan forgiveness. And colleges are certainly also taking this issue into their own hands by implementing more grants and shifting away from student loans completely. So we see a lot of efforts both on the college level and on the federal level to work to make higher education more affordable. But of course, it'll take time, and it does depend on resources from Congress, just in terms of getting more funding for servicers and the education department to make things possible.
What's the reaction from graduates and young professionals who've paid back their loans in full or have been responsible in paying them back, and then all of a sudden hearing now some loans are being forgiven? I think it's a tough pill to swallow if you're seeing some people get their student loans forgiven while others actually follow through. They signed a paper, they agreed to take the money out and pay it back.
Mm-hmm. It absolutely is a difficult thing for a lot of people who have paid back their student loans. But I think what we're seeing in the argument for debt relief is that oftentimes we see these borrowers who have paid more than what they owed, and that's due to interest capitalization. We're seeing a lot of times that student loan borrowers might fall behind on payments or they have some sort of personal issue that makes it difficult for them to make those payments. Interest is still building. So that means that a lot of times a borrower might only take on, $20,000 in student debt and have a $50,000 balance. So a lot of people who are pushing for student debt relief are saying that it's simply about making it fair and equitable for borrowers who have paid back more than what they borrowed.
One last quick question for you on a large scale. What's the impact of student loan debt on the economy?
So I think it's at this point, we're still trying to figure out what the impact of the student loan resumption is having, overall on the economy. But what we've seen is a bit of drawback in consumer spending. So a lot of retailers have expressed concern that, they're not getting the same amount of investment that they were during the student loan payment pause. So it's definitely something that I know a lot of economists are hoping to follow, as this student loan payment resumption is going into effect. And, of course, on the other side of things, the student loan payment pause has been, people are saying it has been an economic stimulus. So I think we're just going to have to wait and see, how the resumption is playing out.
Ayelet Sheffey, thank you so much. For more information on student loans, head over to businessinsider.com. Mitch.